Hi there, hope you're having a good day. Welcome back to another video. Today we have a product that completely shattered my understanding of basketball shoes, and this is the Ultralight 2025. So price does depend on your location. Unlike Way of Wade, Li-Ning does not have an official site in most places outside of Asia where you can make the purchase from directly. But I'll leave you a link to kicksown.com, my go-to site for all these hoop shoes from Chinese brands. They do have a complete selection, multiple colorways of this shoe available as we speak. You can check them out from the description box. I'll give you a comparable here, both as super lightweight options from the brand. Both are very popular. The Gamma is about 250 US dollars. That's how much it retails for. Some used to cost like $300, I know. Ultralight 2025 is about 150 to 170-ish. In some cases, it might be close to half of the Gamma's price, and it's even much lighter than the Gamma's. But I promise you that I'm not over-biased because of the affordability. I usually am, to be honest. Anyways, let's just look at the performance aspects one at a time, and I'll give you my takes on why I think this is the #1 must-try basketball shoe as of now. They really made a lot of impossible things happen with this release. Some I can safely call them as game-changing. As to how the Ultralight 2025 performs on the court, we'll change it up and start with the weight of the shoe first, because I really want to make sure you get an idea of how light it is. In the simplest way to describe it, the lightest basketball shoe that any brand has ever created, and it's not even close. As a reference, this is all for the same size, by the way. Some measurements for US size 10.5. On the heaviest end, we got the AE1, regular and low top, 500 grams. Harden Volume 8 and 9, LeBron 22, Puma Stewie 3, and MB4, these are all above 450 grams. The average range for my size is about 410 to 420 grams. LeBron 20, PG6, KD 16 and 17, these are more so around average weight. Any shoe that's below 400 grams is already considered lightweight. The lightest 10% usually falls below 370 grams, like the Ja 2, Legion 4 and 5 low, down issue 6. Gamma used to be the lightest at 320 grams-ish. That's already a good 30 to 40 grams lower than the lowest 10%. But then these guys are just ridiculous. 285 grams. Even if I round it to 290 grams, under 300 grams, that's insane. Before getting this, I could just never imagine getting a shoe this light, let alone having it be very functional. But Li-Ning did it. On their poster, they were promoting it as being 275 grams for US size 9, I think. Same weight as a bag of chips. Yes, I can totally see that. I mean, they're not lying at all. This is about 150 grams lighter than the typical low-top basketball shoe. Roughly 30% lower than industry average. Moving on, cushion is the part that I was most curious about, or most worried about, I should say. Because a lot of times brands tend to downgrade the cushion in order to reduce weight. But here on the Ultralight 2025, the midsole is not stiff at all. They use Light Foam Ultra as like the carrier foam. And as you can see written on the midsole, they're calling it Super Boom this time. It doesn't feel as crazy as the name sounds. It feels just like how Boom normally is. Soft in the heel, the curve shape at the back end takes away some surface area that creates contact against the floor. It's almost like they chopped off a piece. So it's not that much of a foamy effect when you press down on it, but still quite delicious. Responsive, yes. You get a nice bounce back. There is an X-shaped support plate, enough bounce for the majority of players, I would say. Transitioning from front to back feels really smooth. A lot of it has to do with the curve shape, giving you a nice rocking motion on feet. There is a trade-off. On one end, I do wish that the foam had a higher density so that it absorbs impact well on landings. But on the other hand, that might be asking too much because it might make the shoe bottom heavy, so it defeats the purpose. The way they balance everything on this cushioning setup, I think it's already more than I could imagine. in a good way. Traction is excellent. It was good to go for me right from the start. The most impressive part about it was the minimal dust pickup. I mean, this also stays really clean. Only a thin layer of dust builds up on the bottom, and it's easy to wipe off. Pretty squeaky. I was able to get to a hard stop very consistently. Traction performance even slowly improved from like an 8.5 to a 9 basically. According to their product description, it's GCU in the forefoot, Tough OS in the rear foot. Half and half basically. GCU is super grippy. Tough OS means that it is good for outdoor use. The rubber does feel sturdy. Based on my experience with their other shoes that feature the tough rubber, it does come as advertised. Not prone to damage easily. Here I would consider this as like a hybrid outsole setup. Great for indoors obviously, but you can use it outdoors if you like. Should be durable enough. It's just definitely more ideal for the summertime. With the fit, they run true to size. No need to size up in my opinion, because there is quite a lot of room inside. One, due to the thin and minimal upper material. Two, for wide footers, this is a roomy and friendly fit as well. If you were to size up from your true size, you'll most likely end up having too much space in there. Part of it is also because there's not much padding on the interior. It's not completely empty, but also not the soft and plush type. So not well padded, but that doesn't really deduct any points. It would be kind of weird if they stuffed some thick memory foam or cushion pad inside. Long story short, go for your normal sneaker size, your usual Nike size. If you have wide feet, you should be good to go. Think about any basketball shoe that you've tried that feels like a running shoe. Then much of the weight is shredded out from the upper, not by shrinking the width, but by removing all unnecessary layers. For the material used, the highlight is breathability, without a doubt. A lot of airflow throughout the entirety of the upper. Your feet will be able to stay cool, nicely ventilated for a longer sesh. I didn't have to worry about my feet heating up too much. Stability gets a pass. It turned out to be way better than I initially anticipated, but it's still about average. I was most worried about the upper not being able to contain my flat feet properly, like on a hard lateral movement. That could be a real issue if you're sliding out dangerously. Not the case here, to my surprise. Everything was fine. When I was testing it sideways on purpose, or when I was actually playing in them, no stability problems with movements in any direction. So that's checked off. Yeah, don't expect anything super supportive, but the synthetic overlay certainly gets the job done. It's not like the Jordan 37 or Sonic 12 or the Gammas, where it might cause some pinching with the plasticky TPU webbing. I also don't think it makes sense if they were to add an additional layer underneath, because that would have defeated the ultralight purpose. Design-wise, this is another performance model that's inspired by cars or supercars. Checker flags on some colorways, including this yellow pair that I have. The speed racing theme might be more visible, like reflected on the logo, for example. I'm still a little iffy about the design on the medial side, where it says ultralight printed in huge font. Kind of cheap looking, but it is what it is. A lot of Chinese companies like to literally write out the shoe name or text specs. That's just how it is. Pretty funny. I always think of when the Pokemon yell out their own names. Coffee. When do you ever see a LeBron shoe that has LeBron written on it, or Kobe, Sabrina? Fred VanVleet has been wearing this shoe most of the times this season. He represents the type of players that it caters to pretty well, I think. But I honestly think as long as you dig the look, actually even if you don't, I rarely say this, it's still a shoe that you gotta try, regardless of your body weight or playing style. I personally believe it is safe enough, especially given how insanely lightweight the shoe is. Overall, as a tier performer, yes. Worth the price, yes. Most of the concerns that I had turned out to be covered already. Stability isn't bad. My feet weren't protruding out to the side too much. Cushion isn't too stiff. The upper in general isn't too flimsy or weak. As the lightest basketball shoe that humanity has ever seen, the Ultralight 2025 definitely came full of surprises. For comparisons, I'm guessing a lot of you might be really interested in this versus the Gamma, the two lightest basketball shoes on the market. My answer here might be a shocker. I'd much rather spend my money on the Ultralight. Even though the Gamma has better cushion, these guys fit wider. They're less likely to cause any pinching problems due to the material folding. Traction performance is on par with the Gammas. They're both great, more affordable, obviously. And I just find this to be a more comfortable shoe that's easier to use for the average consumer. However, feel free to share what you think about these down in the comments. Does it remind me of any other shoes from the past? Nope, because this is just one of a kind. I don't know how to emphasize this. The moment you put one on feet, or even get one in hand, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like overall performance, accumulating all the different aspects, we might be able to name very few better ones, but nothing beats this as far as how unique it is. So I'm just saying this is one where they completely broke the typical formula used to create a hoop shoe. All right, that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next one.